All right. With that, let's move on to the first conversation that we've lined up for you on the show. Keshav Bhajanka, who's the executive director of CenturyPly Bots, joins in to discuss the business, but more importantly, the impact of the Gabon coup on their business itself. Thanks a lot, Keshav, for joining in. You know, the news of the day yesterday was the Gabon coup. Just wanted to understand what exactly is your exposure in terms of revenue and sourcing from Gabon, and is it business as usual right now?
Good morning. Firstly, wish everybody a very happy Raksha Bandhan. There's a bit of confusion whether it was yesterday or today. So, I think
Irrespective, you know, we'll celebrate it when you wish. Go ahead.
I think the situation in Gabon. This is not the first military coup. There was a coup that took place earlier, and it was squashed within 24 or 48 hours, something of that sort. But as of now, the situation is as per normal as far as business is concerned. There is, I think, a ban on entry or exit of individuals, but the plant is running. Here to Gabon is negligible. I think our turnover last year from Gabon would be about 35 to 40 crores, which is tentatively 1% of our revenue.
Okay, all right, Keshav, got that then. So Gabon is not such a big factor. By the way, with regard to Raksha Bandhan, I believe that it started, officially it was from 9:30 in the night till around the wee hours of the morning. So I think both the days qualify. I tied, I got my Rakhi at around 6:30 in the evening. But let's focus on business then. How is demand environment? There's a hope that the second half of the year will be quite good. Can you tell me whether you're seeing you believe the same, the second half will be good? And as of now, demand was a little bit tepid. Is it because of real estate slowdown or is it because of higher EMI rates? How are you reading it?
No, I think we share your opinion completely that the second half of the year is likely to be far better. You see, there is a drastic spike in interest rates, as you had mentioned, and EMI spiraled. So I think that sort of created negative sentiment with regards to actually beginning the work of moving from a house to a home. If you look at it, the data for the raw material, rather the real estate that was being purchased was still quite robust. But the decision to perhaps defer the furnishing of the house, that has impacted us. However, I think going forward, we are very, very bullish. The real estate cycle is still strong, and I'm confident that H2 will be far better.
All right, you're confident of H2 being far better. We'll come back to your guidance and all in just a bit, Keshav. But, just one last word on Gabon and countries similar to this. Is there going to be a likely currency impact on your business because of that? Maybe translation impact, if at all? And what do companies like you do usually to de-risk yourselves from political exposures like this? Because it's such, it's the nature of business where you have the best amount of raw material, best ways to conduct business. Unfortunately, political environment is not always conducive. We've seen that not just in Gabon, but a lot of other countries as well. So what do you typically do to de-risk yourself?
I 100% agree. It is important to de-risk ourselves, and once bitten, twice shy. So we have been impacted by this in the past. I think the first step that you take is limit the exposure in terms of capex. I think Gabon, the total capex we have done would be close to 20 crore rupees, which in the overall scheme of things is not too large. Secondly, we are constantly exploring new sources of timber. Till about 5-6 years ago, the dependence was on a particular species, gudgeon, because it was reddish in color. When gudgeon stopped, basically the world became our playground. So today, Gabon is a viable option. But if there is a disruption, then there are other options. You can source from Europe, you can source from Brazil, you can source from a number of countries. So I think that overall, the situation now is not as precarious as it was a few years ago, because at that point, it was dependent on one particular species. That changeover impacted us during that time period, but it has given us a lot of opportunities for the longer term.
All right, Keshav, could you tell us how timber costs have moved and what are the expectations out there? Also in the past, I think we've heard that availability is a bit of an issue. Is that being sorted out?
Yes, timber costs have increased drastically. I think this is primarily due to the fact that, in the past few years, agroforestry did not take place to the tune that it should have because of low costs, because of a low realization to the farmers. Now going forward, because realizations have jumped, because timber prices have moved up, the quantum of agroforestry taking place is substantial. And this is a trend that was witnessed immediately after COVID. So from 2020 onwards. I think the quantum of agroforestry that has taken place is a very positive sign to move back towards equilibrium in the medium to long term. However, having said that, for the next year or so, we believe that timber costs will be inflated.
All right, so it's the cycle of commodities that continues. But speaking about that, you've seen some chemical prices go down as well. Remember, you alluded to that. So just reiterate your updated guidance for us. From what I remember from your conference call, you had said plywood will see 10% value growth this year, laminate 25% value and volume growth, MDF will be 30% volume and value growth, and particle board will see flat volume and or maybe some degrowth in revenue. That is held, right?
Yes, definitely. We are on track towards achieving the same.
Yep. And the margin guidance for all these verticals, if you could reiterate?
So for plywood, the margin guidance is 13 to 15%. For laminates, again, the margin guidance is from 13 to 15%. In MDF, we are looking to maintain 25% plus EBITDA margins. And in particle board, it is slightly reduced to 20% as compared to last year.
Keshav, final question before we let you go. You've mentioned numerous times that there's a strong case for ADD on MDF. What are the authorities saying? Have you heard from them?
I think, it is our job to pitch towards the same. But as of now, no, I don't have any new information for you. But I believe that the wheels are in motion. And going forward, sooner rather than later, I will have an update for you.
It's like, I think Keshav's, in the net session, running in, bending his back and bowling. Hopefully, get selected and there is some action.
There is one, or maybe he's, playing a test match and the batsman is just leaving the ball outside the off stump. Maybe at some point it comes in and the batsman does have a shot to play. But thank you, Keshav, for joining in and giving us the outlook on your business, and wish you good luck for the remainder of this year and happy festivities to you and your family as well.
Thank you so much.
With that, let's take a short break.